Hello, this is Robert James Fremantle here with the first in a new series of videos detailing the collection of collecting Tau from sort of the pre-stages right through to actually having an army ready to go on the table. Now, my interest with Tau go back some way. Firstly, sort of from an aesthetic point of view, saying, oh, I want to get some of these models in and paint them up because, well, they just look nice, even if I don't play with them. But it's come to a point where I'm suitably into 40k enough that I want to have another go at a different kind of army. I've been getting a lot of experience with Dark Angels in. Fairly enjoy playing a kind of shooty style of game. And Tau seemed to be very synergy based, very more of a sort of advanced army to play tactically, and advanced from a hobbying point of view as well, and painting point of view. Not the most simple of models. They're not as big as, say, a Space Marine, and the armor isn't quite so obvious and there. There's a few places from observing, like the armor plating on the Fire Warriors armor, where you can see that it's a bit softly done, and you have to sort of decide, oh well, yeah, that point there's the cloth, and that's this point, all the little grooves in it, and those unique challenges, the grooves between the plates and things. So it seems like a very interesting army. As an empire, being that you can collect lots of types of models as well, and the true breadth, of course, of the Tau Empire are not detailed and available as miniatures. They only currently have like the Groot and the Vespid, and some people convert like a few other things in, such as guardsman type ones, the Guevasa I think they're called. And yeah, that's always good. The idea that I could bring all these together under the same colours, under the same banner of this idealistic sort of thing, and they're basically waving a different kind of flag, flipping the bird to the grim dark universe and saying, we're doing things our way. I like this, that something like that idealistic nature would actually be punk in this universe. How incredible that is. So I like their concept overall. I like the fact that they are naive young children, and they think that they can apply their ways to this horrid torrent of nastiness that they find around them, and we'll have to see how they go in that. The aesthetics that I mentioned, very Japanese, aren't they? Let's be honest now. It's quite obvious to see, and the fact that they've got giant mech walker things. I mean, need I say any more? All they really need now is just the giant tentacle monster. And yeah, but no, I mean the thing is, they are. I mean, it's getting to the point now, isn't it, with Games Workshop, where they're saying, oh, there's the Walker variant and the other things, and there's over-the-top flyers and all these things. But Tau are the one army that can justifiably actually get away with having a giant Walker version of them, because it's anything Japanese, it's fine. So it's culturally acceptable. It's expected. Ridiculous things with ridiculous guns. But I mean, from talking about the technology, obviously they're very renowned for their technology, but it's an interesting contrast versus their stats as you find them on the paper. Because I mean, at Weapon Skill 2, they abhor close combat. That tells you, and it's a really, really bad stat line in every other department, including Initiative 2, which is the same as a Necron. So they're nearly always going to be striking last, so they're just rubbish at close combat, obviously. And the crew that are supposed to be the solution to that aren't really that good either, but they're cool looking models. So for me, that's what counts. It's the fluff and the story behind it not necessarily whether they're really are good models, and the challenge indeed of them not necessarily having the strongest stats and the strongest of all these things and somehow making it work. It was the same kind of sadism back in Warhammer Fantasy that had me playing I don't know, like 4,000 points games of Night Goblins versus Dwarves, and just insane tactics. I remember, this isn't really going off on a tangent because we are talking Warhammer still, even though it's Warhammer Fantasy instead of 40k. I mean, the kind of extremes there, you've got the tiny little weak hordes, in this case, of Night Goblins versus really bulky, well-structured, well-armed and armoured dwarves, and how to beat them. Well, just cunning nastiness in a sort of goblinish, sneaky fashion. So it would be things like, which units have fanatics, which don't. Smashing a Night Goblin unit into dwarves, and then sending another Night Goblin unit up behind, and the one coming up behind this first unit, they've got fanatics in, saying like 3 fanatics or whatever, and they come up behind their own group and come within 8 inches by coming up behind their own group. The dwarves there, their own group there, and they're coming up here like this, and it sets the fanatics off, and you send them out in whatever direction. So send them into your own goblins, sort of thing, and they pass all the way through, inflicting damage on your side and on the dwarves' side as well, and out the other side, times 3. And it was just that sort of, I think that captures for me the sheer brutality and nastiness that you can use here once you really get to know your army. And so for me, Tau are extremely alien, and they're going to be a big challenge, and I'm attracted to challenge. I am, these games where I'm struggling and I'm losing, those are the most fun times ever, really, because those are the times that you're still trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, how to correctly synergize the different units in your army. And I mean, it's all very well, you can go out and study and read these things online for how you're meant to do it and follow cookie cutter builds and all these things, but it won't necessarily make you happy. It won't necessarily give you a way of playing that you enjoy, or a way of playing that you had in mind when you first started collecting them. I mean, you've got to have that vision, and sometimes it might mean that you enjoy the painting more than the playing of that particular race, because of the way you want to approach them and the types of models you want to collect that might not actually work out on the table with the current build of rules as they are in a more competitive fashion. But you've still got to collect and paint what you want to collect and paint. So yeah, tactics, it's a whole new ball game, but it's something else completely, because they've got all these really weak stats yet amazing weaponry. So it's like it's the gun that's doing all the work, not really the Tau. So they rely on this technology, and you could just imagine it like with Japan, couldn't you? If they had to fight another major war against another country, that you could just imagine them sending robot armies in. I mean, drones, up against the enemy, not risking any of their own. And the drones are so cute. We've seen the Batteries Not Included movie, right? And that's what they are. They're those little guys, If there were the rules to do it in actuality rather than just modelling it that way, I'd even love to just have a full drone force. I know you could do it and just call them all fire warriors and stats wise and do all that, but I would enjoy it. It'd be cute. Yeah. Well, anyway, Tau, there's almost a choice anxiety as well in coming to actually paint them, because I know that I wouldn't be going for the typical Tau ochre sort of colour. So we are then left with a lot of issues. So then approaching the colour, that will be for the scope of another video. But this is the first initial thoughts to how I saw Tau coming in through the front door and trying to pick some up here and there via cheaper means. and we'll see where that goes next. But until next time, let's continue on for the greater good, and I'll see you at the table.